Howdy, folks, and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. Boy, tonight we got a good show for you, too. Just as always, even the dogs are whining in the background. We're going to talk a little bit about Manly P. Hall and from his book, as you can see, Secret Teachings of All Ages. All ages. Not just your age, but all ages. And I'm hoping that you like this one. Tonight, we are going to go to the flowers, plants, and fruits and trees. But we're not going to do the tree part. That's going to be another show because we're going to do about the flowers and the fruits. And what does it have to do with you? Well, we got the yoni and the phlathrus, which were worshipped by nearly all ancient peoples as appropriate symbols of God's creative power anyway. The Garden of Eden, the Ark, the Gate and the Temple, the Veil and the Mysteries, and the Viscus Piscus and the Oval Nimbus, and the Holy Grail are important Ionic symbols. The pyramid, the obelisk, the cone, the candle, and the tower, the Celtic monolith, the spire, the campanile, the maypole, and the sacred spear, the symbolic of the palaphus in treating the subject of pyramic worship. Too many modern authors judge pagan standards as their own and wallow in the mire of self-created vulgary. The Eleusinian Mysteries, the greatest of all ancient secret societies, established one of the highest known standards of morality and ethics, and those criticizing their use of poetic symbols should ponder the entrenchment words of King Edward III. And I ain't even going to try to pronounce that because I'm the king of mispronunciation. Wouldn't you figure that one out? But anyway, we're going to start with this. And of course, like always, I'm going to do some really good sharing for you. So here we go. Let's get started. As for tonight, the obscene rites practiced by the later Valkyria and Dicynea were no more representative of the standards of purity originally upheld by the mysteries and the orgies occasionally occurring among the adherents of Christianity till the 8th century were representative of primitive Christianity. Yes, they were. What do you think of that? Sir William Hamilton, British Prime Minister at the court of Naples, declares that in 1780, Iserina, a community of Christians in Italy, worshipped the phallic ceremonies, the pagan god Pauperus, under the name of Saint Cosmo. Yeah, there you go. This guy, he figured it out. They were worshiping a god under another name and dancing around and having orgies. The analogy, the supreme fire of the world was upon the hearthstones. The Pythagorean and the other schools of philosophy conceived the one divine nature of God to manifest itself in the threefold aspects of Father, Mother, Child. These three outstanding vicinities, Mother, Father, and Child. These three constituted the divine family, whose dwelling places is creation and whose natural particular symbol is the 47th problem in Lucid. God the Father, Spirit, is Spirit. God the Mother is matter, and God the Child, the product of the two representatives, the sum of things born out and of the constituting nature. And there you go. Look at that. The seed of the Spirit is shown in the womb of matter, and by the immaculate, pure conception of progeny is brought into being. It is not this, the true nature of the Madonna holding the holy babe. Who dares to say that such symbolism isn't proper? The mystery of life is a supreme mystery and revealed in all its divine dignity and glorifying as nature's perfect achievement in the initiate stages and seers of all ages. Progeny of today, however, declares this same mystery to be unfit for the consideration of holy minded people, contrary to dictates of reason. A standard has been established which affirms the innocent breed of ignorance is more to be desired than virtue born of knowledge. Eventually, however, man will learn that he need never be ashamed of truth. Until he does learn this, he is false to his God, to his world, and to himself. In this respect, Christianity has woefully failed in its mission. While declaring man's body to be a living temple of the living God, in the same breath it asserts and substantiates the functions of this temple to be unclean and their study undefiling to the sensitive sentiments of the righteous by the unwholesome attitude of man's body. Okay, now we get into this. Yet the cross itself is the oldest Flavitic symbol emblems, and the logins shape the windows of the cathedrals. Oh, we got the cathedrals going. Yeah, there we go. The cathedrals. I missed that one. The very structure of the church itself is permeated with phallicism. Remove from the Christian church all emblems of preamic origin, nothing is left. For even the earth upon which it stands was because of its fertility. The first Ionic symbol, as present of these emblems of the generative process, is neither unknown or unheeded by the majority of the irony of the situation, is generally appreciated. Only in those conservant with the secret language of antiquity are capable of understanding the divine significance of these emblems. There you go, there's the emblems. Flowers are chosen as symbols for many reasons. The great variety of flora made it possible to find some plant or flower which would be suitable figure for nearly any abstract quality or condition. A plant might be chosen because of its some myth concerted with an origin, or stories of Delphine and Narcissus, because of the particular environment in which it thrived, as an orchid, and the fungus, because of the significant shape, as the passion flower, and the Easter lily, because of its brilliance and fragrance. And here we have some Easter lilies. You can all recognize that. The verbata and the sweet lavender, because of the preserved its form indefinitely as an everlasting flower, because of the unusual characteristics as the sunflower and the heliotrope, which has long been scarce because of its affinity for the sun. The plant may also be considered worthy of veneration because of its crushed leaves, petals, stalks, or roots could exhilarate healing and incursions and essences of drugs affecting the nature and intelligence of human beings, such as the poppy and the ancient herbs of prophecy. The plant might also be regarded as infectious in the cure of many diseases because of its fruit, leaves, petals, or roots bore the resemblance of shape or color to the parts or organs of the human body. For example, the distilled juices of certain species of fern, also the hairy moss growing upon the oaks, and the thistledown were said to have power of growing hair. The larina, which resembles the tooth in shape, is said to cure the toothache, and the Palma Christi plant, because of its shape, cured all afflictions of the hands. The blossom is really the reproductive system of the plant, and it's therefore singularly appropriate as a symbol of sexual purity, an absolute requisite of the ancient mysteries. Thus, the flower signifies this ideal of beauty and regeneration, which must ultimately take place of lust, decence, degenerates. Of all symbolic flowers, the lotus blossom. Lotus blossom. There's more churches. There we go, lotus blossom. Of India and Egypt, the rose of the Rosicrucians are the most important of their symbols. These two flowers are considered identical. The erotic doctrines for which the Eastern lotus stands have been perpetuated in modern Europe under the form of the rose. There's a lotus flower. It's a beautiful flower. And there's the rose. The rose and the lotus are iconic symbols signifying primarily the maternal creative mystery, while the Easter lily is considered to be the phallic. The Brahmin, the Egyptian initiates, who undoubtedly understood the secret systems of spiritual culture whereby the latent centers of cosmic energy in man may be stimulated, employed the lotus blossoms to repeat the spinning vortexes of spiritual energy located at various points along the spinal column and called chakras. The whirling wheels by the Hindus, 7 of the chakras are prime importance and have their individual correspondence in the nerve ganglia and plexus. According to the secret schools, the sacrum ganglion is called the 4-petaled lotus. The prophetic plexus is the 6-petaled lotus. The estrogastic plexus and the navel, the 10-petaled lotus, and the cardiac plexus, the 12-petaled lotus. The pharyngeal plexus, the 16-petaled lotus, and the carnivorous plexus, the 2-petaled lotus. And the pineal gland or adjacent unknown center, the 1,000-petaled lotus. The color, size, and number of petals upon the lotus are the keys to the symbolic importance. The hint concerning the unfoldment of the spiritual understanding, according to the secret science of the mysteries, is found in the story of Aaron's rod, budded, and also in Warren's great opera, where the budding staff of the Pope signifies the unfolding blossoms upon the sacred rods of mystery, the spinal columns. The Rosicrucians used the garland of roses to signify the same spiritual vortices which are referred to in the Bible as the 7 lamps of the candlestick and the 7 churches of Asia. In 1642 edition of Sir Francis Bacon History of Henry VII is a frontispiece showing Lord Bacon and the Rosicrucian roses for shoe buckles. In the Hindu system of philosophy, each petal of the form bears a certain symbol which gives an added clue to the meaning of the flower. The Oriental symbol, which gives an added clue to the meaning of the flower. The Orientals also use the lotus plant to signify the growth of man through the 3 periods of human consciousness: ignorance, endeavor, and understanding. And the lotus exists in 3 elements: earth, water, and air. So man lives in 3 worlds: material, intellectual, and spiritual. As the plant, with its roots in the mud and slime, grows upward through the water and finally blossoms forth in the air, so spiritual growth of man is upward, from the darkness of base action and desire into the light and truth, understanding the water serving as a symbol of the ever-changing world of illusion through which the soul must pass. It is a struggle to reach the state of spiritual illumination The rose and its Eastern equivalent, the lotus, like the beautiful flowers, represent spiritual unfoldment, attainment. Hence, the Eastern deities are often shown seated upon open petals of the lotus blossom. The lotus was also a universal motif in Egyptian art and agriculture or architecture. The roofs of many temples were upheld by lotus columns, signifying the eternal wisdom, and the lotus head scepter, symbolic of self unfoldment and divine progenitive, was often carried in religious processions when the flower had 9 petals. As you can see, there's the buildings with the lotus flower holding them up. When the flower had 9 petals, it was symbolic of man, and when 12 of the universe of the gods, when 7 of the planets and the law, when 5 of the senses and the mysteries, and when 3 of the chief deities of the worlds. The heraldic rose of the Middle Ages generally has either 5 or 10 petals, thereby showing its relationship to the spiritual mysteries of man through the Pajorian pathetic decade. There you go, lots of flowers. What you can learn from a flower. Regeneration, people. Regeneration. So, there you go. Well, I hope you all enjoyed that. It's amazing the stuff in front of us and how we look at it every day and we don't see what it's all about. How the ancient people found mystery in a flower, the regeneration of life, the Trinity, the different religions finding parts of the spirit in family, earth, fire, and water, always boiling down to something. The lotus flower. I'm going to have to do more interesting stuff on the lotus flower. Plants that cure because they look like an organ, or they have hair, so they must grow hair. What plants have you seen? They look like something. Will they cure you for whatever? I don't know. Will it give you spiritual illumination? I'd like to find that plant. Well, anyway, this has been very interesting, and I hope you all enjoyed this. It's just a little short from the book Teaching of All Ages from Manly P. Hall. So that's my version to you out there. So I hope you enjoyed, and remember, go out, do something nice for somebody, even if it's just to give them a smile. Say, hey, a little wave, driving down the road, you just give them a little wave, make somebody's day. Now go out and have a great one. Remember, go out and be the frequency you want to receive, everyone. I love you all. Peace, everybody.